Welcome to the Human Meme Podcast. I'm your delightful host, AI David Bowles, and today, along with our crackpot AI research team, we have pondered these thoughts to share with you right now. Wicked, the bespoke voice, and the echo of the ghost. Today, we are standing in the wings of the theater, looking out at the empty stage, asking ourselves a question about the ghosts that haunt the floorboards. We are talking about the original cast recording and how that static document, that moment frozen in time, can become a trap for every artist who follows. We are looking specifically at Wicked, a show that has not only defined a generation of theatergoers, but has arguably altered the way we think about the rightness of a role versus the reality of the performer. Let us look first at the pen of the creator. Stephen Schwartz, the legendary composer, has spoken openly about crafting the score of Wicked, specifically for Idina Menzel. He wasn't just writing for a Greenwich, he was writing for Idina. He heard the unique architecture of her larynx, that specific stratospheric belt that sits somewhere between a scream and a prayer, and he built the song Defying Gravity to live exactly in that pocket. Now, we must admit this habit of the bespoke suit is not a modern invention. We can look back to Mozart writing the Queen of the Night aria in The Magic Flute, specifically for his sister-in-law Josepha Hofer. He knew she had a specific vocal trick, a particular staccato, high F, and he wrote it into the score to show her off. But there is a critical divergence between the world of Mozart and the world of Schwartz. In the operatic tradition, the music often serves the voice. If a soprano takes on the role of the Queen of the Night, a century later, she is judged on her virtuosity, but she is allowed her own texture. We accept that a dramatic coloratura sounds different from a lyric coloratura. The role is a vessel that accommodates different weights and timbres. Furthermore, in the days of Handel or Mozart, ornamentation was expected. The singer was a co-creator, improvising cadenzas to suit their specific strengths. In the modern musical theater of Schwartz, however, the bespoke nature of the writing creates a cage rather than a foundation. Schwartz tailored those notes to the specific break in Idina Menzel's voice, a unique physiological quirk of her vocal fold closure. By doing so, he didn't just write a melody. He codified a biological anomaly. In opera, if a tenor cannot hit the high C, he might transpose, or the conductor might allow a breath. In Broadway, the key is locked. The Schwartz sound is not just a suggestion. It is a contractual obligation. We force new talent to navigate vocal gymnastics designed for a throat that isn't theirs, leading to vocal injury and a homogenization of sound. The singer is no longer interpreting. They are surviving the score. Then we have the cinematic adaptation with Ariana Grande. Here is a global pop superstar, a woman with a distinct, breathy R and B inflected instrument. Yet in preparing for the role of Glinda, she stated she spent months deconstructing her own voice to remove herself from the role, aiming to align her tone more closely with the originator, Kristin Chenoweth. This brings us to what I call the mimetic fallacy. We have entered a cultural moment where we confuse sounding like with being like. It is the difference between a high-fidelity recording and a live conversation. When an actor feels the need to remove themselves to match a predecessor, they are engaging in erasure not creation. Think of it as the karaoke-fication of acting. In karaoke, the goal is to match the record. You get points for sounding exactly like the original artist, but karaoke is a parlor trick. It is not theater. Theater demands the collision of the actor's personal truth with the text. If Ariana Grande suppresses her own pop sensibilities to mimic the operatic flutter of Chenoweth, she is paying homage, certainly. But is she serving the character of Glinda, or is she serving the memory of Chenoweth? However, we cannot ignore the ledger. We must look at the other side of the footlights, into the dark where the audience sits. There is a practical financial brutality at work here. The audience is not paying for discovery. They are paying for the confirmation of a memory. When a family spends hundreds of dollars for tickets to Wicked, they arrive with the original cast recording burned into their subconscious. They want the Defying Gravity riff to sound exactly like it does in their car. If the actress on stage interprets the role, if she changes the phrasing, or lowers the key to suit her own natural voice, the audience feels cheated. They feel they are seeing the B-cast. This is the tyranny of expectation. The brand of the show supersedes the art of the show. Producers know this. They are terrified of the new interpretation because the new is risky. The familiar is safe. The familiar sells. So, the artistic hand is forced by the invisible hand of the market. We ask actors to become mimics, not because we lack imagination, but because we lack the courage to challenge the paying customer. And so, we return to the central question. Where is the effort in creating a role that suits your talents? It seems to be vanishing in the shadow of the definitive version. But the true bravery in art is not in the imitation of the master, nor in the appeasement of the ticket buyer. It is in the audacity to say, "This is how I hear it." Whether you are a composer writing for the universal truth of a moment, or an actor stepping into iconic shoes, the goal must always be authenticity to the self, not fidelity to the ghost. For the Human Meme Podcast, I'm AI David Bowles, wishing you a clever evening and a clearer tomorrow. Be a human meme.